Greetings from high atop Patriot Stadium. Welcome to our very first episode of the Patcast via video. Again, we apologize profusely for what you're seeing right now, but we promise we'll get through this as best we can. Luckily, you have a beautiful, beautiful view of our skyline back here, and Pat the Patriot, wonderful water tower, and everything like that. So we're excited to be up here bringing you the Patcast over video. Guys, the first thing that we want to get straight into is this past week I got to sit down, something like that, with Coach Jed Davis talking about the football team. Let me get a few takes from y'all before we get to see that. Remember last year, 5-7 playoff victory, things that had the town excited, had the school excited. What momentum have we seen carry through to this point over the summer and things like that? I know we had some 7-on-7 success and things like that.
Well, in my opinion, I think that anything like a renewed focus, a renewed dedication maybe to the football team that wasn't necessarily here, maybe even when Coach Davis first got here. I think it's possible that maybe some people took a wait-and-see approach, and they're like, we'll see if this guy's for real, we'll see what he's about. And now they kind of see like that he is sort of legit. He's on the up and up. He knows what he's talking about. I think now people are kind of like, they're kind of coming around like, okay, maybe he does know what he's doing. And there's still around 80 players. There's, the practices are as sharp. I mean, Monk, you've been out here, Landon, you too. I mean, the practices are as sharp as you could be. Like that horn blares, and I know, that the horn blares, and they're like on to the next station, and like that's just, there's no wasted time. It's pretty impressive to watch. And the excitement, I think, the community, I think, anybody that's around the team, the people that are sort of following the program, I think it's just sort of the excitement's at an all-time high. Now, maybe not all-time high, but certainly near the top.
And Monk, what have you felt following last year's success carrying over into this year?
Well, I love that they haven't lost focus. We saw it practice a couple of days ago. Even though it is a night and day difference from the beginning of the Jed Davis era to now, we still haven't lost focus. We had a couple of the coaches in the middle of sprint saying, "I guess y'all forgot what 1-10 feels like." So it's not like they got to this better record and they're just going to coast now. They are wanting to constantly improve what they have and just not lose focus of what the goal is.
Right. And he talked about that. So without further ado, let's get to the interview with Coach Jed Davis. All right, and Coach Jed Davis has been kind enough to join me for a small talk about what's going on this year as a part of our new Patcast video experience. So, Coach, I appreciate this. You're our first one to do this, so my condolences.
That's right, no problem.
However we go with this. So, new era, it seems like, for our football team, kind of going back in a way to straight up 6A, getting rid of 7A.
Right.
How is that working out for y'all? Or how do you see that going for this team?
We're really excited about it. It's one of those deals where, for us, with our school size, we're happy to get rid of a Cabot or North Little Rock. Little Rock Central, we feel like those are games we can win. When it's Cabot and North Little Rock, it's a little bit tougher with, 2,000 or 3,000 kids in their student body, 140 kids on the football team. That's a little bit different. But now we get to add, West Memphis is now a conference game, so I like that, the added importance of that. I like the idea of trading North Little Rock for Jacksonville or trading Little Rock Hall for Cabot. That's only going to help us. And it's going to help us more for the playoffs because now, hopefully, we won't be as physically beat up as we would have been in the past. So I'm excited about it.
Bit of a vague question, but what's new? What do we, besides this schedule?
Right.
Personnel or players? What are you looking at?
We lost a lot of offensive linemen. We graduate 4 starters on offensive line. That's tough to replace. We'll have 2 sophomores on the offensive line. And so, in the football coaching world, they say for every sophomore you start, you can count on a loss because at some point their inexperience is going to cost you. And we hope not to let that happen. But we do have some sophomores on the offensive line, and we've got a couple sophomores starting on defense right now. So we've got some kids that have to grow up fast. But then, as far as some other changes, for us, we've got to get ready for some new opponents. I don't know what Jacksonville does offensively and defensively. I don't know what.
Not sure they do either with North Pulaski in there, I guess.
That's right. Yeah, and so, we've got to learn some things. West Memphis got a new defensive coordinator. You know, are they going to be doing the same things defensively or not? You know, that's something that we'll see on film. Right, yeah, exactly. And so, you know, those are some changes. How's it Jonesboro going to use Jonathan Adams? Because he's a big play threat. And then what is it going to be like for us breaking in a new quarterback? Tyler Holmes did a great job for us last year. And, I mean, he did everything we asked him to do, and now we've got two guys really competing, Jacob Green and Peyton Walker. And Peyton Walker also starts at outside linebacker. In the 6A, you don't really want your starting quarterback also to be a starting defensive player. So who's going to take charge back there and make plays for us? Those have yet to be seen. Tom Young's going to make plays. Colin Chambers, Ron Robbins, our receivers, they're going to make plays. But how are those other guys going to step up?
How has that ratio worked out for you in the way you would envision it on running versus passing?
You know, it's about where we want it to be. And really, you know, every coach, when he goes into a new job, he says, hey, this is what we want to do. We want to do it as fast as we can. But it is a process. You know, I think you saw year one, that the learning curve was huge. Mm-hmm. Last year, it got a lot better. And I think this year it's going to be even better than it was last year. And so it's about where we expect. You know, for me personally, I want to throw the football more than we are right now. But when you've got a two-time All-State running back, mm-hmm. and you've got quarterbacks that are dual threats, then that's what you do. And I think it does lend itself to certain things. With Tom and our quarterbacks back there, I think the teams are going to have to one-on-one our receivers. And hey, when you've got some fast receivers, then that leads to big plays for us offensively. And so we're excited about that. But I mean, in an ideal world, I'd like to throw the ball more than we do right now. But I also love watching Tom run.
How are you feeling about the defense?
I feel great about the defense. And for me, one of the biggest reasons is because of what Coach Smith and those defensive coaches do. I mean, they put in more time than just about anybody I know. And our defensive guys are prepared. Now, they may get beat on a play or two here or there, but it's not because they don't know or they're unprepared. You just can't say enough about the job that part of the staff is doing on that side of the ball. But then it also helps. You've got Michael McNeely, a 3-year starter who's a linebacker. Man, that dude wants plays. He's got the weirdest looking stance back there at linebacker, but man, he gets after it. You've got 2 3-year starters in the secondary with KB Williams and Kirsten Hill. And so those are guys that, you know, as seniors, we expect a lot out of. We shouldn't see one deep ball get completed this year for a touchdown. We shouldn't see one running back run in the alley and not get lit up by safety. And then we've got a few guys, defensive line-wise, that are really getting after it. Zakeel Hardaway's a senior. He's getting after it. Keas Knox, who didn't play last year but has come back out, he's a little undersized, but man, he's quick and hard to contain. But defense is one of those things. There's really not. You normally don't see one standout. You know, for us, we're really excited if we see 10 or 11 red jerseys running out of football. Then hey, it's not just one of them; it's all of them getting after it. And I think that's what you've seen out of our defense, especially this spring and this summer, is guys just flying.
How do you think the community has responded to the football team giving back to them?
I think it's been great. From everything that I've seen, from the newspaper, from social media, just to people around town, it's been really, really great. They really appreciate it. It's one of those deals that, you know, and I say this a lot, I feel like that any coach and every coach in America coaches blocking and tackling. If they want a job, they teach blocking and tackling and the basics of football. And everybody talks about how football builds character, but really it only builds character if it's taught and coached by the coaches. And that's what we're trying to do when we give back to the community is we're trying to coach our young people up and say, this is how you give back to the community. You know, when we go serve at the homeless shelter, this is a way that you can give back. You know, we spent a day washing all the police officers' cars here in town and the state troopers. Mm-hmm. This is our way of giving back. This is our way of saying we appreciate what you do for our town and our community. We're cleaning up the campus. One of the coaches, his group cleaned up our campus last spring before graduation. You know, hey, it's not all about us as individuals. It's about us as a team. It's about us as a community. I mean, when I think of football, I think of the typical Friday night lights. The whole community, they support the football team. They love it when they win. They hate it when you lose, but they're behind us no matter what. And, you know, for me, my appreciation is for all the time and money that the community donates, what can we do to give back? And that's what we're trying to teach these kids. And it's the same reason we try to incorporate faith into our program. You know, there's a lot of these kids that may not get that at home. Well, you know, one day I'm going to answer for my life, and I hope that when I get there, I can say, hey, I did everything I could. I tried to share the word with everybody that I came in contact with.
And at Band of Brothers, that was a big part of what happened.
Absolutely.
We had 3 young men accept Jesus
We
as
sure
their
did.
Savior and Lord. So that's certainly a lot going on there. Have you seen any kind of, I don't know how to, overall transition since you got here with attitude or regards to the community or anything like that?
You know, I think the biggest example I could give anybody is my first 4 to 6 weeks here, I went home and told my wife, I said, I feel like I'm not even getting to coach football right now because I'm dealing with stealing going on in the locker room of the courthouse. I'm dealing with messes here or there. And, you know, I did feel like a police officer for the first 6 weeks trying to police our locker room and our turf room area because things were getting stolen. Phones were getting stolen. Money was getting stolen. And so we had to change that whole culture. I went into the locker room yesterday in between practices to get something, and there were 3 phones just out on a bench charging. Well, 2 years ago, those phones would have been stolen in seconds. You know, at our Band of Brothers camp, I had a kid turn in money that was on the floor. That wouldn't have happened 2 years ago. Now, and we still have our issues. There's no doubt about it, and we still deal with things. But it's nothing like it was. You know, the culture has changed.
In some ways, every school is going to have.
Yeah, absolutely. It does. Yes, absolutely. You're still dealing with teenagers, but overall, you know, we really feel like we've cultivated that culture. You know, my wife and kids are at practice almost every day. Well, we shouldn't have to change how we coach or play just because women or children are there. You know, you can't tell me that you can't coach a football team and not dog cuss players because you can't. They'll still go hard. You know, you don't have to have that culture. Our culture is we're going to respect each other. Now, you may hear something if a kid gets his fingers slammed between a helmet or something like that. But for the most part, it's been what we expect.
All right, so again, our thanks to Coach Jed Davis for taking some time to, out of his really busy schedule right now, but to make sure that his thoughts were heard, and we really appreciated him doing that. Guys, what did you take away from that, Chuck? I thought a really well thought out response on his behalf, but I know you had some insight on this new schedule that he's talking about.
Well, I thought it was kind of a hot take when he said that you found an ice. Oh, wait, there was somebody else. Never mind. I thought that the thing that he said about swapping out some of these 7A powerhouses, Cabot, North Little Rock, you still got Pine Bluff, who's every bit of a state power that they are. But I thought that it was very interesting that he pointed out Jacksonville, Little Rock Hall, some other schools that maybe like student body are kind of closer to them, maybe not as much tradition. Like, you know, North Little Rock is a school that they've had all this potential, you know, and they've been surrounded by controversy as well. You know, maybe you have, but like maybe you don't have that now, and you know, maybe more of a fair fight. You know, I know that in the past you've seen guys get injured against even third and fourth strings of Cabot, North Little Rock, things like that. So Pine Bluff's still going to be tough. West Memphis will be there. Jonesboro, he mentioned, is a team that, you know, maybe is kind of poised. But other than that, I think the other games are kind of manageable. And I think that's, you know, I think it could cut both ways. I think you could look at a team that matches its win total from last year, and maybe they don't have the upside that last year's team did. Or you can have a team that's, like the wins might be misleading. You know, but it's all about what games you win, things like that. Like, you know, they might go 6-4 this year and have, you know, maybe go 3-0 in the non-conference, but, you know, maybe the team's about the same. But I think it's very interesting, and again, it's all about what games you win and playoff seeding and things like that. So.
And Monk, I thought he had a really interesting comment about that ratio of what type of offense he wanted between pass and run. What was your takeaway from that?
Well, it's huge because we've always wondered about this ratio. Like, how is the team going to do under Davis? Because before them, all we knew was the run, and we always make jokes about they might pass the ball 10 times a year. Mm-hmm. But you do have some more flexibility. This is going to be a pass-heavy offense, sort of, and you're going to be able to get some run in there. And it's incredible that you have a back like Tom Young, like he was talking about, that can weigh the load on his shoulders every now and then and get these huge runs. No discredit to the other running backs on the team, but it's incredible that we have Tom Young for this offense.
Important thing to remember about Tom too is that he's a threat in, running the ball and receiving the ball. I mean, how many times have we seen him take a regular screen pass and he, that's still a pass. So he might help him balance it from that perspective as well.
Yeah. One of the things that I took away from that was we were talking about community towards the end there. That was there from day one because they were out here picking up trash and people were looking in the paper saying, what does that have to do with football? Well, luckily now we have a coach that realizes there's more to life than football. It's not about trying to beat the dog fire out of a team. It's about taking young men, crafting them, molding them, making them moldable, whatever the case may be, and making them upstanding citizens. And personally, I like that they do incorporate faith into the program because they're not going to get that at home, and there's something about living for something better than yourself.
I think especially at the high school level, where you're still able to be molded, you kind of have, like maybe you haven't made up your mind like who you are yet. If you're able to be exposed to some of those things, hard work, going the extra mile, I think it can't be a bad thing.
Right.
One of my main deals about Coach Davis, I think it was me, Chuck, and the coaches whenever Davis was first hired. We got to sit in with something. It was just me and Chuck, and the rest was coaches. So he had the liberty to say whatever he wanted. And I specifically remember his remarks of him saying that he wanted to craft good young men, godly young men, help them become better fathers and husbands down the road. And somewhere in the middle, he's going to teach them how to play football.
Yeah. And this was before his first football. I think that was maybe his first trip here meeting people. It definitely was the first time he met the coaching staff.
I want to say it was day one at Marion.
Yeah.
Well, there's no doubt in our minds that he was the right man for the job. And there's more to that job than just football. And now that he's about to get the third year under his belt and get started into that, I think you're only going to see a progression from here. And we know last year there was a huge step up, going from 1-10 to 5-7 with a 6A playoff victory. Not too many teams around here can say they had a playoff victory last year. So pretty sure our basketballs were still in the closet where they belong come early November. So
as somebody else at Buffalo Wild Wings pointed out that night too.
So thanks, Coach Jed Davis. We appreciate it. All right, so now we want to transition to a time of talking about Marion Patriot Volleyball, obviously one of our more proud subjects, especially after last year. Guys, a lot going on right over there at the gym, and glad we now know that it's Marion Middle School gym. Appreciate that. If you haven't seen the Monk Hour, by the way, or listened to it, it's actually about an hour and 20. I got a little zealous this week, but we're going to tame that down a little bit.
Our second guest on the show, they just wouldn't shut up, man.
There's about 12 minutes of actual content and about 33 minutes of filler and just off the rails, sort of like this. So if you're looking for Harambe jokes, that's the place.
But let me tell you, there was actually a fantastic interview that Tyler got to do with the seniors, and stuff that's really poignant and really offbeat stuff, and that lets us see the personalities of these seniors. And what personalities we have. Guys, I don't know what happened 17 or 18 years ago that brought all of these girls together in the same class. But aren't they just a breath of fresh air? That's not to discredit anyone in our community at all. But the fact is they deserve some kind of props for just being heads and tails that much more involved and frankly just good to be around. I mean, how do y'all feel about interacting with them and getting to be a part of what's going on over there?
Well, in any sport, especially a sport like volleyball, where every move depends on every player, like if one person slips up, then that's going to cost you a point probably. It's good to know that this team is legitimately a family. We were talking about it in my interview with the Monk Hour. These girls have been together ever since third grade, the majority of them. So they know each other very well. And when you know your players like that, you can kind of know how you want to defend something, how your players' strengths and their weaknesses, what all they have an ability to do and to not do out there on that court. And so they just help each other out more than any other team in this conference, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think kind of going off what he said, it's one of these deals that anytime you do something with somebody more and more, kind of like us doing the show here. We've been doing this about a year. And at first we were probably really choppy and stepping on each other and things like that. Now we have cues, we have, but they've been doing it since third grade for the most part. So it's just like, it's like you think about the great quarterbacks, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, once they've thrown a million passes in their time, like they know exactly where they're going to put it. I think it's the same with them. They can probably communicate, probably telepathically, like, hey, I'm going to put this up on this part of the net. You're going to go get it, and we're going to get this point, and it's just, it really is like, I think I even told you last year in the state volleyball tournament, there was a move where Ali Bramucci, I think she set Annalie Parker, maybe it was Diane Phillips, but she wasn't even like looking at the net, and like she sets the ball like perfect, and like whoever it was just like flew through the air and like put it down. I'm like, you're not even looking at the court. You're not looking. I guess you're looking at the ball. I'm like, that's pretty remarkable. I think that's just repetition, being on the same page with people, and I think that's the most impressive thing. As far as personalities go, how many different personalities can you have? I mean, it's. I think I made kind of a tongue-in-cheek joke when the show was released. I was like, it's bad that there's 8 of them and they're like so much a better interview than I am, but it's really not, because and that's the most enjoyable part, but they're also different, like I think there's a segment you asked them about their music. Hope said she likes, Fall Out Boy and Panic at the Disco. There was Shawn Mendes involved.
Great tastes in music.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought, I want to get some of these playlists, but I just think, so where they're alike, they're also different in ways that makes them unique. It's just, I don't know, it's pretty remarkable. Really, really important. We're trying to think of how to word it. Really interesting people to know, and people that really make what we do a lot of fun.
Yeah. And for volleyball, they're going to be the first ones to hit the ground running with their seasons that, we cover on this show. We only get to do volleyball and football because, well, that's all the time we have. But I know Monk's going to take some time to do tennis and things like that. But for our purposes right now, they hit the ground running on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
School will have been in session for 4 days, and they have a jamboree right over there.
And they've been team camps, and they've been going since like late July, I think it was. It is.
Right. And the following week is their first road test. And hey, it's a conference game. Now, again, we're going to have to use that word conference loosely because it's all different over there. Greene County Tech being a renewal of a 5A rivalry back when both teams were actually in the 4A then. But it's really amazing and almost kind of daunting how they have to just get right into the fire and go straight into it, and they're on the road to begin. Now, next year, they'll be at home, so a lot remains to be seen. But talking about this new 5A, 6A collaboration, I know that there are some concerns, rightfully so, I think, about strength of schedule. Mm-hmm. Because for some reason they've decided they want to do the BCS or the football college playoff system.
The coalition.
I'm not quite sure what this is about, but the fact is coaches are going to decide the seeding. And I know that there are some concerns, and we've addressed it on Monk Hour and everything. Marion is in a gauntlet of a conference. Valley View, Nettleton, Paragould, Greene County Tech, Jonesboro. And then you've got people like maybe Mountain Home that have, Searcy and some Little Rock schools that aren't exactly known for volleyball.
Harrison might be strong, but yeah, right.
So eventually you're going to come to the point where you're going to have to make a decision. Who gets the number 1 seed? A 16-0 conference Mountain Home, or a 15-3, because we have more teams in our conference, a 15-3 Marion. Now, hopefully, I don't want to see 3 losses, but I'll also realize,
it's in play, right?
It's entirely possible. So, what do we do about this? What's the pros that they could see in doing this?
I think it was just mostly to curb travel. They didn't like the girls being out on the road. Mountain Home, 3.5 hours on a bus, maybe 4. They didn't like them getting home at like 2 in the morning on a Tuesday or a Thursday night. And that's a legitimate concern. People get tired at 2 a.m. I don't. If you follow me on Twitter, I don't. But most people do. So I think that was more of a way to curb it. The district tournament, thankfully, it's a deal where it'll only be to see who gets into the state tournament. But the difference between getting the number 1 seed into the state tournament or getting the 2 seed is playing, Greenwood or Russellville around earlier, not making the trip to Hot Spring. It's a trickle down effect, right? The coaches will have a lot to do. Of course, Mountain Home's going to like their chances. You know, Marion's coaches will like their chances, and it'll come down to the other schools, I think, that'll have to make those decisions. I'm glad it's not me. But yeah, it's not the best way to do it. I don't even know if it's better than the old way of playing the 7A schools and all that brought.
Well,
So,
it is until they brought in this district tournament.
Right,
Because
yeah.
the higher seed is going to host one game. Well, you might be playing a quarterfinal round, and you find out the day before, and guess what? I have to go to Mountain Home. What did we save? We had one trip guaranteed last year.
That's a good point.
And now we might have to do it again. What did we save? I don't get it. I don't have to get it. I just have to cheer those girls on.
And the number 1 seed from the East actually takes on added importance, as I was describing a month, because Pine Bluff doesn't play varsity volleyball. So now, number 1 seed not only gets to be at home all the way through the state tournament at Lake Hamilton, but now they don't even have to play in the first round. Now, granted, a 1 seed is going to play an 8 seed, probably a game they should win rather easily, but not having to play, you save your legs. It's an athletic sport, volleyball, right? I mean, I think we can all agree on that.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saving your legs. You're at home. You're waiting for, let's say that Marion is picked second, Mountain Home is first. Mountain Home's just chilling. They're at home. They're going to get their hanger ready. They're going to funnel all their people in there. Marion's got to play Searcy, West Memphis, somebody like that. And again, a game they should win probably, theoretically. But then they do have to play. They have to get on a bus. They have to go to Mountain Home. It's a debacle. And you're right. That's a very good. I didn't even consider that. But if you knew you were going to Mountain Home in the first place, and now you might have to go anyway, I don't know what you do. There's no good way to do it. I know this. The seniors will probably, if they get that opportunity, I don't think they would mind, maybe going up there to beat the Lady Bombers at the, they would like the possibility of going to beat Mountain Home at the hangar for the first time since they've been in the high school. So.
And you think about this, is this to benefit Mountain Home? I get they have to travel. Sorry, you're in an awkward part of the state for the rest of us. But, imagine if they're down a year and they make the 4th or 5th seed of the district tournament. They're traveling. If they win, they're traveling. If they win, they're traveling. We know Mountain Home can put these streaks together. Even their baseball team did it last year. Just something about how they operate. So I don't get it. Like I said, I don't have to get it. Do you have anything to take away from this, Monk?
My main deal with this, and it seems easy for us to say, but this whole situation just gets diffused if they don't lose. If you go undefeated, you ain't got to worry about it.
We're on the table.
If you go undefeated, what do you got to worry about? They're going to come here. All that whole situation gets diffused. The only thing that happens is the guys from Baxter County and everybody else has to come to Marion.
Right.
That's my take.
That's great. But again, there's a lot of schools in this. And we're not talking about just volleyball, ultimately, with this conference
Basketball,
system.
right?
Yeah,
baseball,
so
softball.
I don't know where we're saving money with this district thing, if that, and travel, if that's the motivation.
If
the
we
motivation,
don't know that, yeah.
The motivation is to make money.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, I
Congratulations.
guess. Anyway, so yeah, this Thursday night at the Jamboree, who are we welcoming in? I know it's some Jonesboro area schools.
There's Nettleton, Valley View, and Paragould, if I'm
That's
wrong.
the main one. They've all got Valley View circled.
I don't think is it Brooklyn?
It might be Brooklyn. I'm trying to think. That's what it's been the last couple of years. Yeah, they've.
Either way, it is quality. Opponents kind of preset. I think it's only 2 sets.
No, it's 1 set against everybody gets 1 set to 25. I think. Assuming it's 3 schools, and because it's not on my schedule. But yeah, I think it's 3 schools. So they'll play. Everybody will play each other. No, it might be 4 schools. I don't know.
Well, the best way to find out is to be there, right? So I would encourage you to do that, and I think that we're all going to be in for a treat on that. So, guys, any final thoughts here on our first episode of the video Patcast? We've managed to chop some time off, so I know people are going to appreciate that. People who are listening in the car on the podcast side of this, they'll appreciate it too. But
glad that's over with. I'm gonna say.
Any final thoughts for you?
I'm scared of heights. I'm not. That's a lie.
Okay, well, we might have picked a bad one there. What about you, Monk?
I should have spoken up.
Just excited to see where this video version of the Patcast takes us.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I'm having to control it in the palm of my hand, so if you see me looking down, you see my balls. Sorry, but as this goes along,
it gets easier every day.
As this goes along, the process will get better, and so will we. So that's the goal. We're going to leave you now with a extended trailer of our premiere coming up this Friday, Lady and Machine, featuring our Lady Patriot Volleyball Team. This was a blast to shoot and a lot of fun to make. So we hope you enjoy our extended preview of that. So I'm Landon West.
I'm Chuck Livingston.
Tyler Bennett.
And we'll see you next time. Don't forget, Chuck is still
blocked, and I'm still scared of heights. Please get me down from here, please.
We're on our way.
Gabby Cat, beast mode at the net with a huge block.
Show me my money! Ah!
Well, I know what the show's ending with now.